I'm often asked what my ethnicity is, and I usually make people guess. Actually, it's kind of my way of dealing with that daily question. And people often think that I'm mixed Asian of some sort. I've heard every possible guess, but I'm actually Ojibwe. I'm Ojibwe. My mom's Ojibwe and my dad's white.
What's Ojibwe to the people who might not be familiar with that community of people?
Oh, it's First Nations. From Canada, different parts of the United States.
Right.
Sometimes if you look at Chippewa is sometimes a term used in the States.
How do you handle this either being mistakenly portrayed as another race or cast as a race that you are not? And I know you've had chances and many great opportunities to play exactly what you are, whatever that means, right? But
well, not really actually, and that's sort of I have never played a half Ojibwe, half white character. So even when I have played someone who's First Nations, I've often played characters who are Cree, which is not what I am, and that's as much not what I am as I am not Japanese, I'm not Chinese, I'm not Cree. So I've never actually played someone whose ethnicity is exactly my own. For me, I think it's all about representing that individual human and sort of, I mean, ethnicity can be a part of that, but I think that often we get caught in traps of trying to, or not traps, and certainly we don't, and I think Anne Darling is a step forward because it's not about portraying ethnicity, but portraying these individual human beings. I think that when you start trying to portray an idea of an ethnicity is when you end up falling into stereotype.
You said something, you've got a feature film that's about to be released
November 22nd.
There
Boom.
you go. Yes, what's it called?
Empire of Dirt. We premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in September. And the film's going to be released more widely at the end of November.
Yes.
And it's a story about a First Nations family, but it's not about being First Nations, and that's one of the things that I love very much about that film. It's a family drama.
Yeah, I recall in one interview you had for that film recently, you said something about you're not playing an idea or something. Do you remember saying something like that?
Yeah, certainly. And I've been saying lately that, First Nations is not a genre in the way that Asian is not a genre. You can't call this a Chinese film because you happen to be Chinese.
I do see more and more Asians on film, but because it is a visual medium, there are more Asians on film, but they're not your typical Asians. When you saw an Asian woman on film, she was, generally speaking, a model.
Right.
That's my perception. Maybe my perception is skewed, and I'm just bitter and old. But it's. I think that's the next thing that that I would like to see changed is to kind of see more real looking people in film, and you see it in men.
Yeah.
Like when you see men on, you got the hot hunkies, and you've got the real character actors, and everybody
gray
loves
hair.
them. Gray hair and wrinkles and crags, and but that happens less with women.
But I've also noticed that there's more diversity in commercials
Yes,
than
there are.
on primetime TV or
But
features.
then you get something like the Cheerios ad where
What?
there's a huge uproar because it was a mixed race couple.
What's wrong with? Yeah, okay.
There was a huge uproar about that.
Against it?
Yeah.
But people
'Cause
like
they
us
had
are probably like, way to go, right?
Of course, yeah. But I mean, the fact that still causes a reaction in 2000, I think it was maybe last year it came out, but
30 years ago, you would never see an Asian woman paired up with a African Canadian man.
right.
Now you do,
Yes.
and it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But back then, it was like they wouldn't even let you stand beside each other
Right.
in an ad. And now it's kind of like, I noticed something like that 3 or 4 years ago, and I kind of went, wow. So there have been.
We always take note whenever we're
We
watching.
take note.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
take
we
note.
do.
Yeah.
We do.